Have you ever felt that cold wave of panic rise in your chest when you realize you're behind? Maybe you looked at where someone else is in life, what they've built, who they've become, and you whispered to yourself, I should have been there by now? Or maybe it wasn't even about someone else. Maybe it was that quiet, internal expectation you've carried for years, the belief that you should have figured it out, that things should have clicked sooner, that you're somehow too late. And yet, what if you were never late at all? What if every single detour, delay, and unexpected pause was actually right on time? There's a moment, almost invisible, in every human journey when time seems to slip through our fingers. When you see your reflection and think about all the choices, all the chances, all the dreams that feel like they belong to a you from another timeline. And in that moment, you might tell yourself a story. I missed my shot. But this is where that story begins to shift. Because what if the shot wasn't missed? What if the universe didn't forget you? What if it was actually preparing you? We grow up in a world that loves clocks, schedules, timelines, charts that tell you when things should happen. Graduate at this age, succeed by this year, find love before this deadline. But here's the secret most people don't talk about. The world's timeline is not your timeline. You don't bloom according to someone else's calendar. And when you measure your journey against another person's path, you end up declaring yourself late for a train that was never meant to take you where you're going in the first place. Some of the most powerful shifts in life happen not when everything goes according to plan, but when it doesn't. Think about it: the heartbreak that forced you to rediscover yourself, the rejection that redirected you towards something bigger, the silence that taught you to listen to your own voice. You weren't late. You were being rerouted. When you understand this, everything changes. Because instead of living in constant comparison, you start trusting divine timing. You stop resenting the season you're in, and you begin to recognize that some doors don't open until you are ready. Not because you were late, but because that door needed you to arrive as the version of yourself who could walk through it and not lose yourself on the other side. There's a quiet truth that sits beneath every major transformation. Timing is never random. Even when it looks like everything is falling apart, it might actually be falling into place. You weren't supposed to meet that person years ago. You weren't supposed to land that job before you learned what you've now learned. You weren't supposed to get the thing you thought you wanted when you thought you needed it. The delay wasn't a punishment. It was alignment. Think back to moments when you thought something was too late. A dream, a goal, a relationship. And now look at who you are in this exact moment. If you had received it then, would you have been able to handle it the way you can now? If it had arrived earlier, would you have appreciated it with the same depth, the same clarity, the same strength? Chances are the answer is no. Because the person you are now has been shaped by everything in between. The detours, the heartbreaks, the lessons, the growth. You arrived not early, not late, but right on time. Life doesn't measure success by speed. It measures it by alignment. You can't be late to your own destiny because your path is yours alone. It's written with your name, your story, your rhythm. And when you stop punishing yourself for not being there yet, you give yourself the space to fully be here now. And here is powerful, because air is where transformation happens. Most people misunderstand delays. They think delay means denial, that if it didn't happen fast, it's not meant for them. But delays are often divine. They're pauses with purpose. Sometimes the universe holds back what you want, not to tease you, but to teach you, to shape you, to build the strength required to keep what's meant for you once it arrives. And the craziest part, when it finally does arrive, whether it's love, opportunity, clarity, or the moment that changes everything, you'll look back and realize the timing was perfect. You'll whisper, maybe with a smile, oh, that's why it didn't happen earlier. Because earlier, you wouldn't have been ready. Earlier, you might have rushed through something sacred. Earlier, you might have settled for less than what was always meant for you. This isn't about blind faith or sugarcoating pain. It's about understanding a deeper rhythm to life, a rhythm that doesn't obey the pressure of the clock. When you begin to trust that rhythm, everything feels a little lighter. You stop seeing your path as behind and start seeing it as unfolding. Maybe right now it feels like everyone else is racing ahead. They're building careers, starting families, living lives that seem polished and complete. But those are their seasons, not yours. And comparing your seedling to someone else's fully grown tree will only make you feel like you're failing, when in reality, your roots are growing beneath the surface. Just because it's not visible yet doesn't mean it's not happening. Your journey isn't a race. It's a masterpiece being painted in layers, each season adding depth, texture, and meaning. And the brush never moves too slow. It moves exactly as it's meant to. When you grasp this truth, your shoulders drop, your breath deepens. You realize you don't have to force it all to happen at once. You can trust the unfolding. You can trust that you are not late to your own life. You can stop apologizing for the pace of your growth. You can stop blaming yourself for not being further along. You can stop thinking the world forgot you. Because it didn't. In fact, everything you've experienced, the breaks, the bends, the pauses, has been preparing the foundation for the exact moment you're standing in right now. This is your moment. Not because it's perfect. Not because everything has finally clicked, but because you're here, breathing, learning, expanding, right? On time. There's a hidden power in realizing that your timeline doesn't have to look like anyone else's. We're conditioned from a young age to believe in a single, straight path. You study, you succeed, you find your purpose, and everything unfolds neatly from there. But real life isn't linear. It's layered, messy, chaotic. It's full of seasons that don't make sense while you're standing inside them. But when you step back, when you finally see the full picture, you begin to understand something you didn't before. None of it was wasted. Not a single second. Think about all the so-called wrong turns you've taken, the jobs that didn't last, the people who didn't stay, the dreams that slipped through your fingers. Each of those moments might have felt like proof that you were falling behind. But what if those were the exact stepping stones leading you here? What if those wasted years were actually years of becoming, of building a version of yourself capable of more than you once imagined? There's a quiet kind of strength in trusting the process, even when the process looks nothing like the plan. Most people give up in that gap between where they are and where they thought they should be. But that gap is where the magic lies. It's the space where character is built, where faith is tested, and where true alignment is formed. When things take longer than expected, it's easy to spiral into doubt. You start asking the kind of questions that echo late at night. Did I mess it up? Did I miss my moment? Is it too late for me? But here's a truth that can shake that doubt to its core. Time is not your enemy. It's your ally. It's not running out on you. It's walking beside you hand in hand, patiently guiding you toward the chapters that are still waiting to be written. The universe isn't interested in rushing your growth, it's interested in rooting it. It's not about speed, it's about strength, about depth, about becoming someone who doesn't just stumble into their destiny, but steps into it fully equipped. And sometimes, equipping takes time. Think of it like a seed beneath the soil. For months, maybe even years, it looks like nothing is happening. There's silence, darkness, stillness. But beneath the surface, roots are digging deep, anchoring, preparing. And then one day, seemingly overnight, it blooms. But it wasn't overnight. It was years in the making. Your life works the same way. Just because it's not visible yet doesn't mean it's not real. We often celebrate arrivals. The visible blooms, the wins, the milestones. But what's less talked about is the sacred, unseen preparation. The years of struggle that no one posts about. The nights when you kept going when no one was watching. The silent victories that no one claps for. That's where your timing is being shaped. That's where you learn who you are. You were never late. You were simply underground, growing in silence. It's easy to feel like time is slipping away when you scroll through other people's highlight reels. You see their successes, their glossy moments, their celebrations. And in that instant, your mind compares. But remember, what you're seeing is their harvest season. What you don't see is the years they spent in their own darkness, questioning everything, wondering if their moment would ever come. Everyone has a behind the scenes. Everyone has a hidden timeline. Comparison will convince you you're behind. But awareness will remind you you're exactly where you need to be. Your story was never meant to be identical to anyone else's. It was meant to be uniquely, intentionally, beautifully yours. Every delay carries a lesson, and often that lesson isn't about waiting, it's about becoming. The universe doesn't hand over certain moments until it knows you're ready to carry them. And readiness isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. When who you are finally matches what you've been asking for, doors open, not before. The pause you're in right now might not make sense yet, but one day it will. One day, this moment will be the plot twist that connects everything. You'll look back on this season and see how every closed door redirected you toward the right one. You'll understand why the timing felt so strange. Because if it had happened earlier, it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have lasted. It wouldn't have fit the version of you who's still unfolding. So breathe. You're not behind. You're becoming. And let's talk about something even more important: trust. Trust isn't built in the easy seasons. It's built in the waiting. It's built in the uncertainty. It's built when everything inside you wants to quit, but you whisper to yourself, "Not yet. My time is coming." That whisper is power. That whisper is what keeps you aligned with something bigger than your temporary frustration. You don't have to chase what's meant for you. You align with it. And alignment doesn't require panic. It requires patience. It requires presence. It requires the courage to let go of control and allow life to unfold in ways you couldn't have scripted. Some people bloom at 20, some at 40, some at 70. But blooming late doesn't make your flower less beautiful. It makes it rare. It makes it resilient. It makes it unforgettable. You weren't late. You were gathering the strength to bloom in your own way, at your own pace, in your own time. Your timeline isn't broken. It's brilliant. One of the most liberating things you'll ever realize is that rushing won't bring your destiny closer. It only steals your peace in the present. When you stop racing against imaginary deadlines, you make space to actually live. You notice the beauty in the waiting. You discover the lessons hidden in the pauses. You stop seeing time as an enemy and start seeing it as the rhythm of your becoming. The person you're meant to be is not running away from you. They're waiting for you at the exact moment when your soul and your story align. And when that moment comes, it won't feel forced. It'll feel inevitable, like exhaling after holding your breath for too long, like recognizing something you've been waiting for without even realizing it. Every chapter has its perfect arrival. Every season, its perfect unfolding. And you, exactly as you are right now, are not behind schedule. You are on schedule. You are the schedule. There's something deeply human about feeling like you're running out of time, like the train is pulling out of the station, and you're standing on the platform watching it disappear. But the truth is, your train hasn't left without you. It's been waiting at the exact stop where you're meant to board, and every step you've taken, even the ones that felt like detours, have been leading you there. The idea of too late is a story we tell ourselves when we forget how powerful timing really is. The universe isn't interested in your panic. It's interested in your readiness. Life doesn't operate on fear-based timelines. It unfolds through trust, alignment, and the quiet certainty that what's meant for you will not miss you. And the moment you stop trying to outrun your life and start walking in step with it, everything begins to shift. The pressure to prove something to everyone else fades. The noise quiets. You return home to your own rhythm. There's a quiet kind of power in knowing that your destiny isn't fragile. It doesn't shatter because of one wrong turn or one delayed season. It bends, it reroutes, it waits. Just like a river finds its way back to the sea no matter how many rocks it meets. Your purpose has a way of flowing back toward you. It's patient like that. It knows where you belong. Maybe right now, you're standing in a season that doesn't look like progress. Maybe it looks like stillness. Maybe it looks like starting over when you thought you'd be further along. But what if this isn't a setback at all? What if this is the ground beneath your feet preparing to become the foundation of everything you've prayed for? Because sometimes, the slowest seasons are the most sacred ones. They're the ones where your roots deepen, where your strength multiplies quietly, without applause. We glorify speed, we glorify arrivals. But the truth is, life's most extraordinary moments aren't about how quickly you get there. They're about who you become along the way. And you, right now, are in the process of becoming someone powerful. Someone ready. Look at your journey like a constellation. At first, the stars look scattered, random, isolated. But with time, a pattern emerges, a shape, a story, a design. That's what happens with your timeline. The moments that felt like failures connect with the ones that felt like triumphs, and together they form the story of your becoming. None of it is wasted, not a single dot. And here's something to remember: the people you compare yourself to. They've had their own delays too. They've doubted, stumbled, and questioned just like you. Their timing isn't superior to yours. It's just different. Life isn't a race where the first to cross some invisible finish line wins. There is no finish line. There's only evolution, only unfolding. You may not see it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that the timing of everything, every heartbreak, every closed door, every long night, wasn't random. It was precise. It was exact. It was the architecture of something far bigger than your immediate understanding. And you'll say, I get it now. I wasn't late. I was arriving. When you carry the belief that you're late, you move with fear. You grasp. You chase. You shrink yourself to fit into timelines that were never meant for you. But when you understand that your timing is divine, you move differently. You walk with your head up. You stop apologizing for where you are. You stop begging life to rush. You begin to trust the quiet in between. And that's where the real magic happens. Not in the frantic sprint towards some imagined future, but in the calm exhale of presence. In realizing that right now, in this exact breath, you are not behind. You are aligned. The journey hasn't passed you by. You are the journey. It takes courage to trust timing. It takes strength to release the story of being late. But the moment you do, you step out of the race and into your life. You stop carrying the weight of false deadlines. You begin to build from a place of grounded power, not desperate urgency. That's the difference between chasing and receiving. Your purpose isn't going anywhere without you. It's patient. It's constant. It's stitched into your very being. It doesn't care if you're 22 or 52. It doesn't care if you took a detour or paused for years. It only cares that you arrive. And when you do, it'll feel less like a surprise and more like a homecoming. Think about how many times in your past you thought it was too late, only to look back and realize it wasn't. That pattern isn't a coincidence. It's a reminder. Life has been whispering all along, "I've got you. Trust me, you're on time." And one day, maybe sooner than you think, the thing you've been waiting for will unfold. It won't be rushed. It won't be forced. It will happen in that quiet, breathtaking way where everything just clicks. And you'll realize it didn't come too late. It came when you were ready to hold it with both hands and not let it slip through your fingers. You were never late. Every second was leading you here. So stop apologizing to yourself for the chapters that didn't unfold faster. Stop mourning timelines that were never meant to be yours. Stop punishing yourself for detours that were actually alignments in disguise. And instead breathe trust. Walk with the quiet, knowing that your time isn't coming. It's already here, unfolding in ways you might not even see yet. This moment, this breath, this season, it matters. It's not filler. It's not wasted. It's part of the story that will make the destination that much sweeter. You are not playing catch up. You are living. You are learning. You are aligning. And when the world tells you you're behind, remember this: clocks can't define divine timing. Schedules can't measure soul growth. No one can tell you you're late to your own life. You arrived when you were meant to, not a second sooner. Exactly. On time.